Yeah, thank you, Shalanda. So, taking a larger view at this, should the debt ceiling deal get signed, will it help bring down inflation over the next 12 months?
So what I will tell you is what would have been terrible for inflation in the economy would have been a default. We have seen a moderation. I'll let the credit agencies have not moved down the credit worthiness of the United States, but we needed to make sure we got a deal before that happened. We have done that and hopefully staved that off. But this is exactly why, because we risk overturning the gains we've made in inflation. It's not low enough, but it is moderating. And my fear was even if we got closer and certainly defaulted, we would have been in a situation where we lost jobs and lost the gains we've made in tackling inflation.
But with this deal, is this an admission by the president that maybe the government spent too much money over the past 2 years?
What I'll say is we're in divided government. And both sides have thoughts about the trajectory of the country of spending. This president takes a backseat to nobody on deficit reduction. 1.7 trillion reduction in the first 2 years. He presided over that. His budget put forth a plan to reduce the deficit by $3 trillion more. He also made the case over and over in this conversation that if you really want to do big deficit reduction, where's the revenue? Where are the high income earners putting more skin in the game? But this is one part. We're not going to give up on our revenue proposals. So while this will change the trajectory of spending, when you see the CBO, when we all see the CBO report, when it comes out, where we really need to make headway is on our revenue proposals, which has long-lasting deficit reduction abilities and just structural change to change the unfairness in the tax system.
Most of that 1.7 trillion that went off for the first 2 years was COVID spending that ran off, and the CBO says the deficit actually will increase. Next year it's 1.7, it was 1.4 this year, 1.7 next year, and then up to 2 point something in 10 years.
Well, that assumes this president did not preside over getting COVID under control, that it was an accident, that he managed a vaccine program that was highly successful. Had we not done that, what additional measures would we have needed to ensure that more Americans did not die needlessly from the COVID pandemic? So I get the argument. You didn't need COVID spending anymore, so you shouldn't take credit for deficit reduction. Well, he got it under control. He used the tools Congress gave him in the American Rescue Plan to get this virus under control and stave off the worst of economic scarring. The rebound we have seen since COVID is not comparable to anything, including the economic recession we saw when he was vice president. So this is not by accident. This president managed COVID, he managed the economic fallout, and that's why you've seen 12.4 million jobs added.